All right. Well, welcome. We are so happy to be here in the Prezi headquarters to have the world's first pro bono fuck up night. Yeah.
So we, that is Ariana and myself, Armin, aka the A-Team, supported by another member of the A-Team, Andras. Yeah. Cool, so fuck up night. Who of you guys has been to a fuck up night before? Who has experience with that? I see one arm over there, one arm there, one on the top. Lauren, did I see your arm? Okay, so everyone who has not been to a fuck up night before, make sure to sit close to someone who has been so you know what this our evening is about. Okay? Good. So what is this evening about?
Well, this night, it's about sharing. And it's not just about hearing about your own mistakes, but also learning from other people's mistakes so that we don't continue to make the same mistakes if we don't have to. Tonight is about being open and about, most importantly, having fun. We're gonna have 4 speakers, Shalabh, Elizabeth, I'm trying to look for you guys right now, Renay, and Antoine, oh there you are, who are gonna be sharing. And in between these speakers, we're gonna have a chance for you all to share your own fuck up stories using this trusty microphone. So, for safety purposes, we are going to demonstrate how this microphone works. Armin, do you have a fuck up story you'd like to share?
Well, actually, I'm glad I didn't fuck up catching this microphone. Can you, is that? Yeah. Yeah, I do have a fuck up story. Actually, I have many. I do many mistakes, as I believe every one of us has many mistakes. And we're thinking about whether we share a professional or a personal one. I decided to share a personal one from my early childhood, so it's long ago.
No, it's okay.
I was actually playing in a theater group, and we were traveling Russia to play a very sad Russian сказка, how you say, like a fairy tale. And I was the bear. And the bear in Russia is the incarnation of the Russian soul, which is very deep and very sad. And my scene, everyone was supposed to cry. And I went on stage, and everyone in the theater was laughing at me. And I didn't know what happened. So what happened, I realized a second later. So bears have short legs. And I had brown jeans, which I kind of wear baggy style. So I have short legs just like a bear has. But I wore them a little too baggy style. So I was actually standing on stage with my trousers down. Learning is like a little detail. I messed up a little detail and it destroyed the entire scene. And the regisseur, the producer of the whole show and my teacher wasn't very happy with me. But anyways, personal fuck up. So we're gonna ask you in the breaks as well. So important rule, right? This evening is not about fucking up tonight. Like we're not inviting you to do any mistakes tonight, right? We're inviting you to share some of the mistakes you did in the past and really concentrate on the learning, right? We don't believe in it's good to make mistakes. We believe that mistakes happen and that we can learn from them, and then the mistakes are actually good. So this is why we do this night. Okay, and now I have to, yeah, actually this is the wrong mic, right? I have to switch this. No? Huh? Oh yeah. And yeah, so you've seen we are in the Prezi space. And now we're going to be live to the Amuse and Crunch conference. Amuse stands for User Experience and Crunch for Data. And there we have Andrea Bacifava, I hope that I said that correct, from Prezi. And big thank you and applause really to Andrea for hosting us here in this inspiring, innovative place. Thank you, Andrea. I'm not sure you can hear that quite yet, but...
Her name is Media.
Why did I say Andrea?
I have no idea.
So I fucked up on my notes for sure. It's like, this
I
is
got
my
them
note,
right.
please. There's literally one name on that, and I fucked up that name. Medea. Okay, that works really well. Okay. That's the great thing about a fuck up night. Like if anything happens, you just say it's part of the program. Okay, let's Shall we try it later and just start with the first?
Shalabh?
Yeah,
You want to do Shalabh?
Yeah.
All right. Shalabh, would you like to come up here and share?
Big
your
applause
story?
for Shalabh.
Okay. We've been told to stand in this red box. Okay.
Hey, Medea.
Where's the
Hi, Medea.
camera?
This applause was for you. Thank you very much for hosting us here in Prezi. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you're at the Amuse and Crunch conference. Yeah, a couple of welcome words to you, from you. Oops. we just destroy your inventory, but okay. Yep, that's perfect. We can see you now.
Okay, so my name is Maria. You can't really see me, unfortunately, because the place where I wanted to hide and have this talk is actually full with people. But yes, so my name is Maria and I work at Prezi. And I am responsible for the non-profit conferences that Prezi and the ex-Ustream IBM lab is putting together since 5 years now. And actually, this is a special call because I am actually in the venue of a double conference. It's a data and UX conference. And I will tell you a little bit about how it's built up, and then I will walk you through a little bit so you can feel just like you are walking with me and see how the venue looks like. Okay? So, as far as I'm aware, you guys are talking today about how a company can, and employees of a company can help with their volunteer work and with their knowledge, the communities. And actually what we do is a little bit similar to that, because we are putting together these international non-profit conferences in a way that the people who are inviting the speakers from all around the world are employees of these two companies, and they do this on their free time, and they contact speakers from the US, from Alaska, or wherever they are, based on their knowledge. They research them and they try to contact them. And even when they invited them, they try to guard them. We have a mentor program. And they love this because they know that with the help of these speakers, they bring knowledge to this country. And the knowledge is shared not only on these events, but these events are live streamed for free. And also, anybody can watch them. And also the videos of these talks are available. So not only that 1,400 people who is here today can enjoy these talks, but actually thousands and thousands of people who will watch their videos online later on. So this is how we do this, these events. And as far as I know, you guys are talking about fuck-ups tonight, so I have one little share today. Sorry. So basically, on French conference opening stage, I was opening the conference and giving some hints like how it's a venue, whether the state is there, features, what they need to be there, because we are in the train museum right now, in the railway museum in Hungary. And so yeah, I was supposed to open the stage, and our stage manager asked the technical guys just to be on the safe side to place 2 clickers on the stage. One if the presenter is using their own laptop, and the other one is just the basic presenter if my Prezi is not on my laptop, but among the technical people. So yeah, of course, I picked the wrong clicker today, so I started to talk with the technical difficulty. At least it seems like a technical difficulty, and after 1 or 2 minutes, somebody just came up to the podium and gave me the right clicker from the very same table where I picked up from. So it's like, okay, then let's try to show that we are professionals. And so this is like my little fuck up for today. But otherwise, everything went perfect. 1,400 people here from more than 35 countries. And I will walk you guys through now because I don't want to hold up your event too long. So first, I'm showing you a very small room, which was a workshop room. And then I walk you through the party area where people are having drinks right now and had the dinner. And then I will show you one of the main stages, okay? So I turn the video and I walk you around you guys, okay?
Okay, so take us on a little tour, perfect.
So this is actually a room and people try to get out. I close the door so it's a bit more quiet. I sneak out. All right. So
Looks like fun.
this is where the party is going on now.
Wow, this is quite psychedelic. Is that just me or?
Car. Dinner is almost done. You can see our sponsors here.
Okay, thank you guys.
We have a little lounge. And you can see there's a train in the background. And I just came out from that wagon or train. That was the workshop area. That's the Prezi booth. With my drinking beer colleagues. And that's the IBM lounge.
Drinking colleagues, very good.
And I will slowly walk you to one of the main stages, what we have. So this is a new stage. So the US conference was having theme here. And I will show you one more volunteer thing.
Okay.
So as you can see, the stage, 15-meter long screen. The decoration is a real train.
You can hear the music in the back for sure.
And some music, yeah.
Oh, you can actually hear it.
The last one, the conference could never happen without the help of my darling volunteers. You can see them with lots of glasses.
Cool. Cheers to all the backstage volunteers. Hey, come on, guys. Let's cheer the volunteers.
That our volunteers are engineers, usually from universities, and they volunteer because they want to help. But I like to have them as a volunteer because I can in return give them some free knowledge. So they only need to work for a few hours a day, literally like registration in the morning, 1.5 hours, and then 2 hours maybe. And then the rest is they can enjoy the talks. But they like the community so much that often I just find them here in the cloakroom, all of them, and I can't understand why they are in the cloakroom instead of listening to talks. Come on, they are here for the talks, no? But no, they sometimes just come and just
Cool.
enjoy.
Thank you, Medea. Thank you for taking us on a tour around Crunch and what was the other? Amuse conference, user experience and data. Thank you very much. Thank you also for hosting us here in this wonderful space as Prezi and for being so kind to the community. We're going to have a great night here. We already had a good start. And yeah, thank you. This applause is to you.
Shalabh.
Okay.
All right, Shalabh.
Yeah.
All right, Shalabh,
Shalabh.
you're up.
Yeah.
There's a clicker.
Oh, the presenter that we destroyed. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. So the second European Pro Bono Summit, the first global Pro Bono Fuck Up Night, and India gets the first position to present. Beat that. Okay, so here we go. Huh? Something happened? Huh? Okay, that's not mine. Failure is a bruise, not a tattoo. I hope the next is mine.
See?
Okay. Yeah. One more. Okay, one more. Prepare to fail. That's me. Prepare to fail. Shalabh, Sahai. Yeah, that's definitely me. So prepare to fail. So we're not a startup. We started up almost 15 years back. And I think this is one of the motto that we had at that time, that, in the Indian society, you don't get much time for yourself to experiment something new. There's a lot of social pressures to follow what the society expects of you. And so when the four of us friends started this organization, we really gave ourselves 1 year. And we said, we have 1 year where we're prepared to fail. And we have the confidence that 1 year later, we will be able to, if nothing happens, we'll be able to go back according to the social norms and still do well. So I think that's the motto that remained with us. And throughout this journey, we have attempted several things and always prepared to fail. So the first story is on pro bono. So what we did about 4 years back was we were just experimenting with a couple of different pro bono models. And one of the initial projects that we got was with an organization, an NGO in Mumbai. And this NGO, they work with the children, the underprivileged children, on education and a lot of other social support that they provide to these people. So they came to us and they said that one of the problems that we have is of trying to keep data and information regarding these people. We have no analytics in place, and we really have a hard time tracking how are we doing, how are our social workers doing, and how are our children doing. So that's a big problem, and can you help us with that? So for one of the initial pro bono projects, we went to a couple of people, spoke about it, and we put together a team of a couple of pro bono volunteers, most of them from technology background. I think it's a 4-people team. And they designed a very elaborate, nice system, trying to put in place a good way of measuring and reporting and analyzing a way of for this organization. And then at the end of the day, they went back and presented to the organization project manager saying, here, this is a solution that we have for you. And the presentation went, I think, pretty all right. And at the end of it, the project manager, who this team had not met earlier, they had met somebody else in the organization when looking at the problem. He said, this looks pretty good, but the problem is not really what you're seeing at. The problem is something different. And he said, so what is the problem? Any guesses? Okay. That's the problem. Any guesses why is that the problem? Chew the cables. This NGO was working in a community, and their office was in a community which was it was an underprivileged community with no sense of hygiene and a lot of just sewage drains and infested with rats. And they said that it's not that we have not tried having a computer. It's not that we have not tried having a basic Excel-based system to keep a track of our people. The problem is the rats chew the cables away. So, what do you do? Went back to the drawing board and said, okay, we need to get a casing line. We need to focus on the hardware, not on the software. We need to make sure that we have a system in place that is rat resistant. So, context is paramount. I think a lot of times when we design, when we understand the pro bono projects and when we design solutions, we do it from where we are. But that is a learning. Context is important. Okay. So the second story. This one is one of our programs called Whiteboard. And this is a a program that some of you who've interacted with me over the last 2 years have known more about, and we've learned through the way on this as well. So in this case, it's we put a whiteboard is basically a group of about or a team of about 8 to 12 senior executives from the corporate sector. They don't belong to a single company. They come into us as individuals by invite, and you put them together in forming like an advisory board, which consults one organization every 6 weeks, something like that. And they work on solutions. And over it's been there for about 4 years, and we were doing amazingly well. The whiteboards were sought after. The angels really wanted to kind of come and present. The whiteboard positions for individual presenters were also very sought after. Senior executives were approaching us and saying that we want to have a position over there. And so we were kind of really calling the shots. It was doing all great. But this was independent whiteboards. And as a non-profit, we obviously wanted to earn some revenues to support this program and scale up. And we thought, well, it's doing so well. The next level is obviously to go and seek corporate partnerships. And there were 2 corporate partners that said, okay, it looks like a very good program, and we want to have a corporate whiteboard in place. And for a corporate whiteboard, what does it mean? Basically, the corporate appoints, or corporate says that, okay, here are these 6 people. They could raise their hands or whatever, but they said, here are these 6 people, and they come and join your whiteboard. And what happened is, as opposed to an independent whiteboard, this first whiteboard meeting that we had with a large British bank, I will not take the name. So the MD was there along with the heads of 6 other departments, and they were the whiteboard consulting, and we had only the MD speaking. So it's basically in a whiteboard meeting, it's like everybody behaves as equal, and they brainstorm and they consult this one particular organization on what they should be doing. So it's the dynamics between them where they kind of brainstorm and contradict and kind of come with new solutions is where the real solutions emerge. But in this corporate whiteboard, what happened that suddenly we hadn't thought about it. The corporate dynamics took over, and suddenly there was just one person speaking who was the senior person, and rest everybody was only kind of nodding their heads. And so I think that was kind of a big failure for us. What we realized from that is the next corporate board meetings will never take place within the corporate premises. So we will take them outside the corporate premises. So the next meeting that we did, we put together a group of different people. And like in the previous one where we said the context is paramount, the new organization that was presenting was working with jail inmates and the jail officers of a particular large jail, central jail in Mumbai. And so we actually did a corporate whiteboard meeting within the jail premises. And I think that turned the things around. So, yeah. Okay, so that's a very well-known adage, well begun is half done. And in India, if you were to ever, how many of you have been to India? Okay, few hands. I expected more, but that's okay. We'll live with that. Okay, so in India, if you were to ever ask somebody, let's say for directions on the street, people will say, yes, you go that way and take a left and a right and then ask somebody else over there. Basically, most often they might not actually know the direction. They just don't want to say that I don't know it. So the problem is that if you ask somebody for something, we don't say no. It's a problem. So, so in this case, we partnered with a large Indian conglomerate that does a lot of things. I will not again take the name. But in this case, the sign-up that we had for them was to put together pro bono projects for 50 of their mid-level managers. And so we put together the projects, we went into the corporate, and we kind of, got them to do the sign-ups. For 50 projects, we had 65 sign-ups. So we said, fantastic, we got 50 projects and 65 sign-ups. So great, but well begun is half done. 1 month down the line, there were only 2 projects out of 50 that had initiated. The reason, because nobody ever says no. So when we ask somebody that, whether you want to participate in this, a hand goes up because it's expected to go up. But end of the day, the project doesn't start. So, yeah, so well done is only half done. In this case, not even half done. And how did we overcome this over a period of time is we realized that, again, in India, the hierarchies are very important and competition is very important. So we actually devised a way in which, people who are participating in completing projects will actually get to do a lunch with the CEO of this mega conglomerate. And in that way, kind of, we were able to use this spirit of competitiveness and wanting access to the senior management to turn this around. So, yeah. Okay, now this is not exactly for pro bono, but this is one of our early days of starting, goes about 10 years back. And we were starting our International Volunteers program, where the first batch of volunteers were coming from UK to India. And it was a group of about 12 people. They were supposed to be based in Delhi. And as a matter of contract, we had said that we'll provide you basic accommodation in India while you are kind of serving your projects as volunteers in India. What we understood by basic amenities in India was very different to what people in Europe possibly expected of basic amenities 10 years back. They expected an air conditioner, they expected a washing machine, they expected a refrigerator, they expected a cooking top, they expected a bed with, whatever. And what did we have? We had maybe like a fan and a tube light and a mattress and running water, which was great, and a flush toilet. So, so yeah, I think, so that was one of the clear learnings that we had, that do set expectations, do a reality check right in the beginning. One of the biggest learnings we had really long time back, and especially if you are working with people who are from a different culture setting, which includes a different work setting. Now, the example that I gave in this case was from people coming from a European country to India, but is as well true of people within India coming from a corporate background to work with a non-profit. Checking on what the expectations are. And I think to a large degree, pro bono management and volunteer management is all about matching expectations and kind of setting expectations right. So I end with that with just one little announcement. So iVolunteer, which is my organization, is also hosting the next Global Pro Bono Summit in Mumbai in early February. And we'll try our best not to fuck up.
Thank you. Thank you, Shalabh, for sharing. It's interesting that what made for a more successful corporate meeting was having it in a jail. I mean, my first attempt at it would have been maybe a couple beers or something, but whatever works. So has anyone been inspired by Shalabh's story or just having a chance to think about your own and would like to share? I know Armin is dying to throw this microphone. Not yet?
Anyone?
Okay, well, with that, we are going to go to our next speaker, Elizabeth.
Hello, everyone. I am Elizabeth with the Taproot Foundation, and I feel safe being up here because our founder, he was really good at fucking up. So I feel like I've got a little leeway to talk about what we've done wrong tonight. So 2 stories, both with a similar theme. First, my background is all in the arts. I come from the arts. I have a theater major. I had my own theater company. So improvisation is fairly easy for me. So when I got to Taproot, I was super excited because we had just started to work with arts organizations. And I knew that pro bono was going to be the solution to all of their problems. I was really excited. So I took the time, I did my homework, I did my research. Yes, Joel, I promise I did my research. And I went and I talked to funders and I talked to capacity builders. And I said to them, what is it that nonprofits, what is it that theaters, what is it that performing arts organizations need? How can we solve their problems pro bono? And I had a lot of conversations. And we came up with, they need more capacity building. They need more marketing supports. They need, you should be noticing a theme by now. They need more support for executive development. They need additional technology. I spoke with 5, 10, 15 funders of arts organizations trying to understand what it was that they needed. And then I put together a plan. I put together a very organized plan. I mean, it had bullet points, it had paragraphs. I was very pleased with this plan. I mean, it was clear as to how it was going to support nonprofit arts organizations because I knew that pro bono was the solution to their problems. Great. I had my plan. I had the funders engaged. I'd done my homework. I'd done the research. I was good to go. Except I'd forgotten one small group, the nonprofits I was actually trying to serve. I hadn't actually spoken to any of the performing arts organizations to see what they needed, or to ask them how they thought about pro bono, or to have a conversation to say, tell me about how you've used volunteers in the past. I had skipped over them entirely, as though I was the solution to all of their problems. Newsflash, I am not the solution to all of their problems. In fact, when I shared this grand statement with them, in general I got either, Occasionally I got, well, we don't really have time for that right now. Every once in a while I would get, yeah, that sounds great. Can you do that? Except I need you to twist it this way and turn it that way and change these things around. And so what I really need is that. Well, no, we can't do that. I did my homework. I did my research. I fucked up. I forgot that the people and what we serve at the end of the day are nonprofits, are social change organizations. And that when we're doing our homework, when we're saying, what do they need? That's not the right question. The question is, what do you need? And how can I help? So ideally, I would have learned from this experience. And I did, but it took a couple of years. So about a year and a half later, I was part of the development of a new program. It was called the BFF program. We were really, Joel's in hysterics at this moment. We were really proud of this program. We were proud of this program because we knew it met what they needed. Again, with that theme. We knew that the BFF program, and by the way, yes, we were very pleased with ourselves and the name of that program. I mean, the name of that program was probably the best thing about that program. And so we developed a program that said, what nonprofits need is a hand to hold. They need to work with a professional who can stay with them step by step by step throughout an entire pro bono project, providing advice and consultation. And we built the whole program. We really did build the whole program. I had a colleague who built it, and she makes my detail orientation look like child's play. I mean, she built out the program from A to Z with bullet points and appendixes and all of the above. Oh, was it an impressive piece of paper. But what did we forget again? We forgot that nonprofits might not actually be interested in this program. We forgot to ask them, does this exactly fit with what your need is? How is it that this program going to serve your need? What is it that we are going to be able to provide for you? We, again, went with what they need, what they should have is what we are creating. We fucked up. Again, we forgot that what they need is what they tell us. And so the lesson here, and the reason why when Taproot went back and developed a theory of change and said, what is it we're trying to do, is we said, what we're trying to do is meet nonprofit need. We are trying to solve what they need by listening to them, by hearing what they are telling us and responding to that, not by sitting in a room and creating what we think they need. So it took us a while to get there. But now that we have, anytime someone says to us, well, I think I'm going to do this, my first question is always, but what is it that the social change organization needs? What is it that the nonprofit needs, and are you meeting that need? Because if you're not, you're fucking up again. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that double fuck up story. That was great. That was
And I was actually, in preparation, I was Googling failure quotes, and one of the quotes was, you can fail 7 times, no, you can fall 7 times, it's fine as long as you get up 8 times. And I think this is right the notion there. It's fine to even fail twice and do even a similar or same mistake, but it's important to always try to learn afterwards and take that with you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, guys, we want to make this interactive. We have the throwing microphone, and we will use it now.
And I have a better.
There's one over there, Lauren. Can you reach this far? Come on.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you, Lauren. Nice one.
I remember one. There are too many, but I chose one. We decided to organize an event with foundations near my city when we were just starting about pro bono things. The lesson I learned that day is that the only thing most dangerous than a powerful person in the room is a powerful person with no briefing. It's like an event just like this one, so we got like 30 foundations at the same room. We are not really experienced in doing this kind of events with corporations and foundations. And was like a standard, we asked a company to host this, and this foundation, was a foundation, they said, okay, can we make like a little presentation of our work before? I said, sure, no problem, okay. And then like everyone was there, and in 5 minutes, the manager, she said to me, okay, our CEO just come and he will make the speech. Okay, good. He knows about the event? No, he's good at speaking in public, don't worry. And then, like, I still have goosebumps about that. And then the guy started speaking, and he wasn't really sure about who were sitting with him. It turns out there was starting a presentation showing like a rank, just a ranking from a magazine showing how his foundation was really better than the others, with 30 foundations in the room. Okay, so what could happen? Turns out that one guy raised his hand and said, "Don't lie to me. I know that's all bullshit." And then the circus started. They all started fighting and arguing with each other. And we were like in 3 people in our team and say, okay, what you should do? The only idea that comes to our minds, like we turn out some music really loud and say, coffee break. And that's it. And the guys start talking, and then we're, okay, the event was good, so next time it was, okay, thank you everybody, say bye. After that, it took like 1 year to make another one.
Thank you, Lauren. Anyone else wants to share?
There was a hand over here.
Was there?
I thought I saw a hand.
No hand? Okay, well then we invite the next fuck up story to the stage. Renay from PYXERA. Thank you very much for sharing your fuck up story.
All right.
Big applause for Renay.
I know. Where's the love? I need a little bit of love. So I don't have any funny photos or funny quotes. Just a few, maybe not so funny, but interesting stories. So for those of you who are familiar with PYXERA Global, we've been around for about 30 years or so, but only implementing skills-based pro bono consulting programs for about 10 years. So in the course of the 30-year history and the 10 years of implementing skills-based, we have screwed up a ton of times and learned many of lessons and are still standing, thankfully. So a few stories that came to mind. So I've curated some of the stories from my team and kind of got some of the best practices and lessons learned that I can share. And I will not share specific client names, so I'll be very vague about that. Actually, I'll say it's Prezi, so I'll refer to Prezi. That's who we fucked up with. So the first one was, we were earlier in our days of implementing skills-based programs, so we didn't turn down any business. A client came and said, hey, can you do this? The answer was always yes. Then we always figured out how to do it afterwards. Our motto at that time was, you build the plane as you fly it. So you just figure it out, keep it moving, and it's always gonna work, right? So Prezi came to us and said, hey, I'm new to Pro Bono. We want to do a program. We think we want to go to South Africa, and we think we want to go in May. So we said, okay. We have an office in South Africa. We've done some work there before. Sure, no problem, let's do it. So they tell us all the parameters. We have about 10 employees. We want to send them. We want them to work on, access to healthcare and some water and sanitation projects. We said, sure. Our country director has great relationships with organizations in this area. Let's do it. Sign us up. Whatever you need, we got it. So for our programs, for the Global Pro Bono programs, we do everything from beginning to end. So design, do all of the logistics, we do visas, we book flights, we book hotels, we do all of the logistical arrangements as well as the project development, implementation, and monitoring. So one of the things that Prezi said, which I'm sure many of my implementer and NGO partners in the room can identify with, is they said we want it to happen on an expedited schedule. So we need it to happen in about 6 weeks or so. We said, sure, we can do it. We'll figure it out. Which means that we didn't necessarily have time to scope out the situation and visit the community and build relationships ourselves with the organizations, visit the hotels and that kind of thing. But we said, hey, we've done it before. Our country director says that he can do it. So what's the big deal? So talk to the country director. He finds out all the organizations, builds the projects, gets everything lined up. He didn't have enough time to go to the hotels and kind of visit, which now we do, which we should have done back then. He didn't have a chance to do that, but he said, you know what, I'm familiar with this area. I'm completely comfortable with, having a team stay there for a month. It's going to be safe. It's going to be fine. No issues. We looked at the website. The hotel looks amazing. Let's do it. It's going to be great. So now I want you to take that hat off and put on the hat of you being a participant. So you are a first-time pro bono consultant, now being deployed to South Africa. Super excited, never been out of your country before. Your manager has nominated you to do this, so you're like, okay, I got a lot of pressure on my shoulders, can't screw this up, this is gonna be great. You tell your family, your friends, everybody's nervous, but you're excited, confident. You get on a plane, you get to South Africa, you get a taxi to the hotel, only to find that it's an open, vacant lot. There's no hotel. You don't know what to do, you're by yourself. Never been out of the country before, don't know how to navigate new lands that way, and you're completely lost. So we cut corners in the early days and did not scope out, as I said, the hotel. Just trusted the website and saw the pictures and said, oh, it's beautiful. There's 5-star ratings. This is great. Let's book it. Booked it. Booked nothing, actually. So our fuck up was we, again, cut corners and there was no hotel. And so many lessons in that, as you can imagine. So we're scrambling, the participant calls our country director and it's like, hey, I'm here, there's nothing here, what do I do? Country director starts shitting bullets and figures out where to go, what to get there, how to get there, and finds another hotel to rebook the team in. And thankfully, folks came kind of in waves, so it was only the first person that came, and the rest of the team didn't arrive until the next day, so we were able to recover very quickly. And find a hotel for the team to stay in. So many lessons. One of the lessons was sweat the small stuff. Don't cut corners. If you don't have time, say you don't have time or find the time to visit the places because safety and security is obviously important. So now we have an organizational imperative called sweat the small stuff. The other one is don't rest on our laurels. We have an organizational imperative called don't rest on our laurels. So just because we've done it once before doesn't mean we are, the experts in it. We need to, keep it fresh and keep it right and keep doing it again and again. And consult your country staff, your local staff. That was another lesson, is make sure that they're doing their job. So huge fuck up. The other one was in our early days. Again, team went to Rajasthan, India, actually, with Prezi again. And so yes, Prezi is still a client from the first one. So we explained everything to them. They thankfully and mercifully forgave us, and they're still a partner of ours. And then the other one was we went to Rajasthan, India, took a team there. Team, again, this one participant in particular had never been out of the country before. Super excited to be there, super excited to be immersed in a new space, see the culture, eat the food, meet the people. and was particularly impressed by the camels. And so for those of you who are familiar with Rajasthan, you know that the camel is the animal, the state animal. So he was very insistent on riding an animal, or riding the camel, I should say. And so not knowing that the camel was sacred, that you don't ride the camel. And so he, insisted, he got on the camel, and he made an ass of himself. And ended up making an ass of us because we didn't prepare him enough culturally to know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So I would say the big fuck up for us was, again, not thinking through the details and preparing the participants for the community that they're about to go into, and what to expect, and how to behave, more importantly, according to the local customs and cultures. So 2 fuck ups, but we survived.
Thank you, Renay, for sharing your fuck-up story. And there's a little bit of a theme about details, so for all of them. So is there anyone, I know Armin is trying to show me up and be able to throw the microphone further than I can, but is there anyone else that wanted to share a story? Okay.
Layla. Okay, I'm throwing this at you.
So first, I would like to check if I know the right word for this adrenaline. Is it same in English?
Yeah.
Okay, So this story is about adrenaline. So we are relatively fresh to pro bono. We started only 2 years ago, this pro bono program. For last autumn, it was our first year. And so we decided to arrange the pro bono marathon during the pro bono week. And we started, I consulted everybody I can get during this Singapore summit to ask how it should be organized. And we started our preparation early in summer, like July or August, for the end of October. And we had some beneficiary organizations which were social enterprises who need to develop their marketing strategies and communication strategies. And we decided to approach creative agencies. And we started to calling and going from door to door to the creative agencies, most fancy, most highly paid, top creative agencies who receive the honorarium which I will not earn during several years of my work, and who never heard of not only pro bono but any social work at all. And we came to this agency and we start explaining what is responsible business, what is pro bono, what is social enterprise. So we started from zero, and at the end of the interview, all of them we met said that, wow, that's great, we want to participate in it because we want to help. And so we were very proud of it, and so we organized one orientation meeting for all these creative agencies to design the format. And we said that you should have some preparation work before with these enterprises, social enterprises, to find out really what is their problem, because we're not marketing specialists and you might need to scope more properly their problems and design the briefs. And then you will implement these solutions during the marathon. And they're very young and very competitive, and they often do the marathons between themselves when they really have competition. They receive the brief, and at the end of the day, they reveal the winner who have designed the best solution. And they say, it's not interesting for us. There will be no adrenaline for us in that if we know the problem beforehand. So what are we doing at this marathon? We are not competing with each other, and wouldn't be right to compete because it's a social project. But then it's not interesting for us. What should we do there? And we said, wow, it's just a failure. What can we do? Because these people are not interested in that. And then they found out, they created solutions themselves. They said, we should design briefs for different organizations, and then we would work with each other's briefs. So without knowing beforehand with whom we are going to work. And so this will be very new for us. We didn't know anything beforehand, and this is adrenaline for us. So in the morning we learn about the problem, and till the end of the day we have to produce solution. Wow, great. And so this marathon was really successful, and they designed wonderful marketing strategies and logos and some campaigns, planned campaigns and everything. So everybody was very happy and it was really great success. And after that, it was first European Pro Bono Summit, and Antoine told me that we practice it very often, that we organize follow-up meetings after the marathons in few months' time to summarize the results and to show the pro bono companies what social change has been achieved through their interaction or involvement. So in 6 months' time, we decided to organize the follow-up meeting, and we worked for the whole month with these social enterprises to make them prepare really good presentations on what have they done, how did they implement these marketing strategies, and what social change did they achieve to present this to these pro bono companies. And we call to them, and everybody says, oh, that's nice, we will come definitely, oh, what a good idea. And in this day, we hired some nice plays, and we prepared some wine for them and relaxing atmosphere, and all the NGO, the civil society organizations came with their presentations, sticks and everything. And out of 7 creative agencies, only 2 came, though all of them confirmed their participation the same morning, the morning of the same day. And we were so disappointed. Some of these beneficiary organizations came from different cities, just to present these results. And we're persuading them that it's important that you show how important results you have achieved. And it was like, we did not understand what happened. Why did this happen? And well, then they presented these presentations to each other and to the 2 participants. And then we sat and we tried to analyze, and we understood that there was no adrenaline for these organizations in this meeting. Yeah, they were eager to help, but they were not so much eager to listen about social change they produced, because there were, for them, because they're very young, very competitive, and it was no adrenaline for them. So the lesson we learned from this, that you should always figure out very precisely what is the interest and motivation for corporate partner, not only for the beneficiary organization, but why this corporate partner is coming to deliver this pro bono. What is his personal motivation? And all are different. And so all of them might have different motivation. If you do not take this into account, you might fuck up like we did. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's also the notion of only because you did something right in the first place doesn't mean you do it right again over and over again. Even if you do something right, you might still fail in the second time. I think that's an important notion there as well. Antoine, your fuck-up story. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so I'm going last. So thank you for those of you who stayed. It was really interesting, everything I learned before. My fuck-up stories are... So I really wanted to follow the rules. We will come back to it, but there are rules, and it says, don't try to promote, try to be vulnerable. So I'm going to talk about real fuck-up, some things I even still regret for some of them. And it's all based on how I did manage my emotion. So I was actually coached as an executive at Pro Bono Lab to manage my emotions for a year after that. So hopefully I'm not going to do this kind of mistakes again. So I'm not going to talk about the time where Armin and I tried to break into a hotel and rob the bar. And I'm not going to talk about those Tinder dates in Belém last summer, Johan, pure failures. So I'm just going to talk about emotion and friendship, because friendship for me is maybe the most important thing in life. I would be nowhere without my friends, so for so many reasons. So, but friendships give you a lot of emotion. And when you start a business and you build a business with 2 friends, Johan and Emily, sometimes friendship gets you in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just very shortly, because maybe we don't know everyone in the room, but Pro Bono Lab is an organization that was created 6 years ago. We made a specialty of the Pro Bono Marathon, and we basically spread the Pro Bono Marathon model in more than 20 countries over the last 5 years in an open source way. I see many people in the room who were there. This was one of the last training I gave. It was last year in Detroit. There were 17 organizations at the National Conference on Volunteering and Service. So stop for the promotion, but coming back to friendship and where it leads you. It leads you to say the wrong words at the wrong time sometimes. What are these kind of words? It's the kind of words that you shouldn't say first. And it's the kind of words that people don't forgive. It's the kind of words people don't forget because they don't understand, but it's too late. It's done. So I'm going to take 3 examples. The first one, with my friend. So I tried to translate because this was in French, but at this moment I was Pro Bono Lab's second president. So we had a rolling presidency. Johan was president the first year, I became president the second year, and it was the third year, and we were going to hire Johan and Emily. I was still doing my studies, so I couldn't get hired, and I was the president. And there was an issue with the contract, because it was a contract backed by the government with funds, and I was not sure that they would match the criteria of this contract. So I was like, I'm not sure, I'm the president. Like, if I sign a contract and I'm, this is illegal. Like, because we had like this contact who was like, I'm going to do the contract, don't worry. I was like, yeah, but I'm going to jail. Like, basically, if I sign the contract and it's not clear. So I said, okay, if this is not clear, I'm not going to sign your contract. Johan, Emily, and I have always been equal in these projects. At this time, I just broke the equality. I took advantage of my power position because I was afraid I would become illegal. I was afraid I was going to jail. So this was a big mistake. It was remembered to me every year almost by Johan and Emily after that. It was something like very, very painful for them and for me too, I think, in the years after that. So it was a wrong word. What did I learn from that? Couple things. First, who set the rules? Who execute the rules, and who leads investigations? These 3 roles, like legislative power, executive power, and judiciary power. So, and it's always something we didn't really manage within the nonprofit. We didn't know, and we had 3 different spirits. One was all on like setting the rules, the other one was on executing, and the last one was on leading investigations. And we just figured it out in Belém, speaking about it with Johan this summer. So, long time after that. And it was a big source of conflict. Also, there was something else. What is law? Is law an ideal, or is law a minimum? For many people, respecting the law is a minimum. Like, as a minimum, you need to respect the law. That was my position. But when you're an entrepreneur, and not just an entrepreneur, many times law is an ideal. I used to be a Boy Scout. When you're a Boy Scout, you make a promise. You promise to do your best to abide to the Boy Scout law. And it's clearly explained that this Boy Scout law is an ideal that you should pursue, but you will never reach it. So here the question was, can we follow the law? But I used to be a chief Boy Scout, actually. There is a law that you need to clean tables with Javel water every 4 hours when you take care of the young children. But who does that? Like, no one does it. You can't. You are supposed to have, like all these panels in your offices, like one unique document of like 500 pages that you're able to show in 2 minutes to any inspector who comes. Like, no one does that. Well, so is the law an ideal or a minimum? And at this moment, I really thought it was a minimum to respect the law. And no, I really see, as an entrepreneur, most of the time it's an ideal. Which is the case for pro bono. I'm linking into pro bono. No one should ignore the law. That's the ideal. I mean, obviously we don't know all the fiscal law, we don't know the taxes, we don't know like all of this, and that's where pro bono is an ideal, to just help people, understand the law, understand their rights, and that's why we pursue this ideal, I think, doing pro bono. That's where it comes from. So. Okay, another one. I don't want to be poor all my life. I think it was something like this at a board meeting. It was bad. It was the most costly negotiation ever. So, like, what happened is like I wanted us to like raise the wages of everyone at Pro Bono Lab over the course of 2-3 years. So we had a plan to raise all the wages of the whole organization, the whole employees, and the leaders, Johan, Emilie, and I would finish at something like 3,000 euros a month net after 5 years leading this organization. So for me, it was not being rich. I had many startups in my environment becoming big millionaires or more, and I was like, I'm just running a non-profit. I just need like, this amount. Like that's my goal after 5 years, like working 70 hours a week. And when the board starts saying, yeah, don't you think it's too much? It's going to be a heavy cost structure. I just like, I don't want to stay poor all my life. Which was extremely rude. Extremely rude, because in the room there were people like volunteers from our board that wouldn't earn these amounts of money. So it just gave me like, after that I really changed my mind on money, and if you see the board meeting and the way money is, I think I just changed my mind on wealth too. Like I really feel most of the wealth you have in life doesn't come from money. Just put it this way. Okay, another one. Oh yes, let's do this. I just said so too many times. So, well, for the record, this picture was taken in Russia, where I was supposed to be 2 weeks ago for a conference, but I just forgot to do the visa procedure, and I realized it at the airport. So, so I just like, okay, I'm not boarding this plane. I'm not coming back. So I think it's very important that you don't say yes too much, and it's often the wrong word at the wrong time. Like just don't say yes. Like just don't say nothing. If you can't say no, just don't say nothing. Like no words. Okay. No, wrong one. So after that, so let's say he jumped or he failed, or like he just said yes one time tomorrow. So the question after that is, where are you? Like you're all mixed. Okay, I just said yes. No, how am I going to cope with it? Like how am I going to do something? And in the end, what I think is that if you say yes all the times, it's because you. Oh, I need to come back to something. Do I? No, I won't. Okay, I fucked up, but it's okay. So it's just because you are motivated, you have passions, you have mission, and it's something very good, something that's pushing you, and it's actually okay to say yes too many times. It's actually okay to set ambitions that are like something you're not sure you can reach, to challenge yourself. I think that's very important. So I used to be director of strategy for Pro Bono Lab for 1.5 years. And I've been doing strategic planning for many other organizations. And I have one way to approach it is to set Promethean goals. If you don't set goals that people feel they're never going to be able to reach, they don't get the adrenaline. They don't get motivated. So you need to set goals that you're not going to reach in the time with the deadlines. But you need to set a goal that people want to pursue. I'm coming back to the ideal. So most of the time I do a strategic planning, and then, well, you engage people around it, and then you just don't match the deadlines. But when you reach the deadline and you haven't delivered, the people are like, yes, but we still want to deliver that. So just postpone the deadlines. And this will work, and we are still engaged. And it actually binds us stronger because we still have the same goal, even if we are facing the failure, so we are failing together. So I just say, like, being on top of this, like, trying this is maybe not a bad idea. Okay, so just to finish, and a little bit of promotion, so just to choose my word. How do I do now to choose my word and to say the right words at the right time? I'm a musician. I write lyrics and I sing. That's what I do. So, well, I just put something here. You can find it. The name is Grand Soir. I've been doing it like since I was 6 years old. And I just realized it's really this, like, it's the moment where I can master my speech. I can say exactly what I said. I've like worked on these words like 100 times. I've sing them 1,000 times before I go on stage, and I only say the right words at the right time. So that's my solution.
Thank you, Antoine. Thank you very much. Well, thanks to everyone who raised their arm and shared a story about their mistake and failure. Thank you, Elizabeth, Renay, Antoine, Shalabh. It ain't easy to go here and reflect on that. We're not exercising this too often to talk about mistakes. Even as an organization, you always talk about the successes. You want to talk about those stories. It's nice and easy to talk about successes. It is hard to talk about mistakes, and I think the Fuck Up Night is also an exercise. An exercise in realizing the mistakes you did and thinking about them. And I invite you all now to continue those conversations, bilateral and in groups, for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, so we have more appetizers upstairs and, more importantly, unlimited drinks for the rest of the evening. The bus is leaving promptly at 10, correct? Andras is looking at someone. Oh, here we go.
Well, I don't know if we have Orsi somewhere here, because we had the feeling that maybe people are tired, so I asked her if we should. So this is actually like a quick question to you, because I had the feeling that the people are a bit tired. So is it okay if we leave like half an hour before, or you really want to stay here and finish all the drinks? So you'll have to go quicker, and I think it's okay. We'll leave at 9:30, okay? And please, we have the GIFME, the photo booth. Use that, because tomorrow will not be there. Okay, and now that I have the microphone, maybe you haven't finished, but...
How's that drink?
I have only one hand, and I have actually 6 bottles here.
Oh.
This is just to thank to the presenters and our 2 wonderful hosts. So please grab one, because I cannot hold this for too long.
Cool.
Now, this is the difficult part. Renay, Elizabeth, Antoine, and Shalabh.
Yay.
I just want to say one more thing. I know this is not the end, and you can still continue, but well, this is how it goes. I'm really impressed, and thank you very much. I mean, this has been 4 wonderful presentations, really, honestly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Quick note, I only have a carry-on, so if anyone wants to talk about it.
Yeah, so thanks again to everyone. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you, Andras, for setting all this up. I think you did a great job. And a round of applause to you and all the volunteers and everyone of your team who's making this possible.
Well, thank you, and I hope that this will be, and this will stay as a tradition. Well, let's not make too much plans, but maybe some hint for the next Global Summit or for the next European Summit. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Enjoy the night.